So today I'm going to talk to you about Song for Eine by Philip Sparke. And I guess the first question, is it Song for Eine or is it Song for Ina? Yes, actually I don't know the real answer. I think we can call it as we wish. But without doubt this is one of the most popular of all the slow solos. It's deceiving though because it has a lot of musical choices for us to make. The tempo, the phrasing, how expressive, do we play it straight, do we use it with a lot of vibrato as well as rubato. So I think it's a piece where we can really express ourselves. It certainly gives us chance to show off our tone, our phrasing, nice smooth intervals, but you need to be very calm. If you have any stress, especially with tone production, these soft phrases da dee dee are going to create an uncomfortable feeling. So although there is some contrast, some emotion and some climaxes here and there, it's a very gentle piece. So I'm going to give you some tips about how I would approach this. And this is not to say that this is how to play it, but it's how I play it. A lot of people found the commentary I did on pantomime interesting. It's on YouTube, you can find it. So I thought I would do some work with Song for Eine, as I call it. So let's think about the beginning. If you've got the music, it'd probably be a good idea to follow along. So the beginning just says lento. Of course it has to be slow, but it always has to have some forward motion because you've got quite a few long tones. Dee, 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 om, bo, and we listen to those long tones for a while. So if you're too slow, da, 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 dee, da, very quickly, it's going to become, you have to think about the listener, not just about you. And of course, if you play it too slow, da 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 da, da da dee dee da, da dee da da ba da, you're going to start to breathe like that. And so that's something that we have to be very careful of here. In terms of the physicality, I mean, it's not particularly high, but there are some very long and extended phrases. So we need to be really in control here and to play as smooth as possible. So a lot of the articulation, da dee dee da da da, I often hear people play that as if they're playing something much more striking, you know. Da dee dee da da da. I think I can play it better than I can sing it. Okay, here's the beginning. So there's that first challenge. Philip Sparke likes his big intervals for the euphonium. Boy, does he know how to write for our instrument. So that one. And of course, traditionally, that tone, those two tones, the F and the concert E flat, concert pitch, tend to be quite sharp. So you really have to do something. Now, if you don't have a trigger, and your notes are a little bit high there, you must stop that excessive pitch. So what can we do? You could use the fourth valve. So 4 and then 1 and 4. You could try just to lip it down a little bit. And that works, but of course if you do that on every one of those notes, the piece gets a little more physical than it should be. So think carefully about tuning those notes. It's really important. Philip writes a lot of the tessitura around that pitch. So we really mustn't let our audiences hear sharp notes all the way through. Some won't care. Some will be going, ah. So think about those that have got a good sense of pitch and help to develop ours. So the next phrase, a little more feeling of restless, I suppose, with the 16th notes. And then when we release after a high tone and breathe, very often I hear players a slight imperfection on the next note. So I always try to keep everything in position and just breathe. Now, let's think about the tonguing. When people say, oh, isn't this supposed to be tongued? I guess they're saying, is this supposed to be accented? No, it's not. So Philip Sparke has written articulation all the way through this, of course. But please don't think about isolating the notes so much. Clean beginnings, yes, but really full length. And if you're not sure, I'm going to say sing it, but if you're not sure and if you can't sing, give it to somebody who can sing. Probably not me today. So the notes have a clear beginning, but they're full length. So let's just think about the phrasing, because of course this comes back at letter F. Again, that whole first section. Dee 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 dee, da 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 da, breathe. Ba da dee dum, ba da da dee dee. So some players would go dee 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 dee, da da dee dee dum, ba da da dee, ba da da da, because they can. But then, would you really want a 4-note tag on the end of that phrase when actually it can be divisible by 2? And the same with the next phrase. And I think it's perfectly okay to breathe there. Then you can enjoy the rallentando without worrying about passing out on the 3-beat note on the downbeat. And allow that sound to resonate. And then a good breath. And so Philip Sparke says a tempo. Yes, we've just had a ral, so that's okay. Rubato, teneramente. Teneramente. I guess you'd have to look that one up, but basically with real feeling, expression here, and don't play any of the notes too short. I think that's really important. The rubato, whatever level of rubato you decide. It's a little bit of shaping. We could play it straight up. It really depends how you feel this. I mean, this is a song for somebody's mother. It has a lot of sentiment in it. So if you want to up the expression, you could use more rubato and more vibrato. And I think it's really important that we do show some color in dynamics. You know, I've heard it played like it's some kind of sight reading test or oral dictation test. No, really, look, you've got a big heart because you play the euphonium. So don't be afraid. I think most people feel a little bit uncomfortable about using rubato, like, oh, maybe it's too much. If it is too much and you play with a band, you may just separate. But rubato is not changing speed. Rubato is having freedom inside the measure, inside the bar. And so cumulatively, you're not getting faster or slower. You're just stretching the music. And it's a lovely feeling, but you need to be brave to do it. And many players are not sure what to do, so they do nothing. I understand that. writing these little 2 tenuto notes. Ba-da-dee-da-dum, and then ba-da-dee-dee-dum. So don't be afraid just to hold them a little bit more. And then we go for this little sequence. Now, if you're not confident with your breathing, you're liable to breathe every bar, every measure here. And I'm not sure that that's the best. You know you can do better than that. So I think we do need one breath. So work towards that. And when you take that big breath in the middle, don't create a massive hole, if you know what I mean. Because then you kill the phrase. And a lot of people don't practice how they breathe. They know where to breathe. They may know that, but actually shaping the breath so that the line remains intact is really, really important. And then just stretch if you want as you get to the top. There's no ral written there, but I do think it's nice if you do. Right, and then you have a little 4-measure rest, and you just join gracefully. Don't come in like you're singing in a Puccini opera. Just join the music, and then that second climax up to the high concert B flat. And then that's really the first section finished. So, of course, most of that has been very calm. Just little bits of extra expression on the high tone, but it's very gentle. And then Philip writes poco più mosso. Poco più mosso. Most people don't do much at all. I've never really heard it overdone, you know. And I do think it needs some movement, because shortly we'll be into the cadenza, and then basically a repeat of a lot of the first page. So for me, this is the emotional high point. And if you use vibrato, you may even want to quicken it a little bit through this section, just to add some extra intensity. And then the really important point is the 4th bar of letter C, as I'll try to demonstrate now. To that forte appassionato, and try it. Don't just play da di da di ma di di. People will love it. Probably not when I sing it, but when you play it they will. And then mezzo forte, and then interestingly, bar before D, ma di 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 da. I always grow the sound there because the accompaniment, the piano or the band, is coming up behind you to play strongly at letter D. So if you you're liable to be heard for maybe 2 beats, and then you're going to disappear. So I would just pencil in a little crescendo. And then the music builds up, and just as it builds up, you come in and allow the music, the tension in the music, to subside as we get to the cadenza. So it's quite a short cadenza. It's a beautiful one, but we need to have a plan. You know, where's the movement? Where's the relaxation? How strong are the strongest points of the crescendo? We see a forte just before F, a beat before the last bar before F. So how should we shape this? Well, we come in at a relatively soft dynamic, and then we go softer. Try then not to breathe after the first note and go through into the next measure. So nothing excessive in terms of speed or dynamics. It's gentle, but I don't really like... It's just something out of your etude book when there's no dynamics and no phrasing. Bum, bum, bum. So long tones, little crescendo, little accelerando until the ral, and then a beautiful resonant sound on the concert D, and then a little ba-dee-da-dee-da-da, like it's an afterthought. Let me show you that one more time. And then we have some more motion, and we have a crescendo. Do we breathe? Ba-ba-da-dee-da-da, da-dee-da-da. If you can go through ba-da-dee-da-da until after that note, I think it sounds better. Let's see. Let's try with the long phrase. Let's take more time and breathe after the C. But I think there's a danger there that we just do too much for what it is, you know. So after, in the third bar, take a big breath, start gentle, build up to a nice climax, but then keep the line, don't break it. Now, take your time there, because you've been playing 4 minutes kind of non-stop. And then... So a lot of this music is the same. This is not, we should not do copy and paste. I really don't think this should be exactly the same. You may have heard a recording where it sounds suspiciously like that. But do something different, stretch different notes, and maybe even a fraction more movement at letter F than when we play it earlier. Says tempo primo, but tempo primo plus a little bit for me would sound great. And then we get to letter G. Again, shape it a little bit differently. Maybe a little feeling of forward motion as we're going to relax it at the end. And that kind of counterbalance works well for me. Letter G. It's not written, but I really like to take my time, the bar before H, because you're nearing the end, you're announcing the end. And this time when we get to the climax, it extends itself. So let's plan the breath, yes? Massive breath. I think that would work. If you want to be a superhero and go through, is it possible? So I would do the phrasing I suggested. So here we are, halfway through the bar before letter H. Now, don't play 3 bars before the end too soft, because it's piano and you're going to get softer and softer and softer. So you go from there to the ending. Now, slower. There's a chance for you, really, if you can control this high note, really enjoy it, make time stand still. If you don't particularly like it, don't hang about. I think it's okay. But how about just slow down the 4th beat? Yeah, even if you're moving and you're not so keen on it, take a chance. Hey, come on. Last note, straight or vibrato. There's no rules here. If you can control it with a bit of vibrato, it's fine. If you can hold it perfectly straight and pure, I'm not sure it needs a lot, you know. It does make it sound a little bit dated. Some people will say, that's it, that's what I want to hear. And other people will go, you sound very nervous on that last note. Are you shaking? So, let's just think about that last section then, from letter H, see if we can put it together. Well, there we are. Thanks for listening. I hope you find that useful. It's a good piece to go back to. Needs a lot of control and a lot of thinking about. And we can apply those same thinking procedures to other slow pieces, I guess, of its ilk. We can talk about others later. Okay, bye.